Section 1800 Metering Equipment and its Installation. 1801 General. This section will cover the application process and general installation requirements for metering equipment to include self-contained and transformer-rated meter sockets, current transformers, CTs, voltage transformers, VTs, primary metering cabinets, transsockets, meter pedestals, modular metering equipment, meter disconnects, necessary enclosures, and associated support equipment as required by CPS Energy. 1801 Metering Equipment Space Allocation. Customer shall allocate adequate space on the building to accommodate metering and service equipment. Customer will be responsible to assure that all subsequent work performed by contractors is installed in properly allocated spaces and in overall accordance with initial design. 1801 Unauthorized handling of metering equipment. Unauthorized personnel shall not handle CPS Energy metering equipment, possess seals, or break seals. Only CPS Energy personnel will handle, install, remove, rearrange, and seal/unseal electric metering equipment. Exception 1. CPS Energy may authorize customer to install instrument transformers in pre-approved enclosures/meter compartments. Exception 2. When gutters, etc., are opened or unsealed by CPS Energy for customer work, customer is responsible for providing a one-time lock to safely secure meter covers, gutters, etc. Refer to Article 1808(7). CPS Energy will remove one-time lock and inspect all work before installing approved lock and/or seal. 1802 Applications. Customer requesting an electric service from CPS Energy shall first complete the appropriate application. The customer may request assistance from the CPS Energy customer service representative. Refer to helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. 1802 1 Permits required by authority having jurisdiction, AHJ. Customer shall obtain permits as required by the AHJ of the respective jurisdiction before CPS Energy will release metering equipment. 1802 2 Customer request for metering equipment. Requests for metering equipment shall be made to the CPS Energy customer service representative. An internal cabinet request work order will then be initiated and a work request number assigned. Applicant must furnish the following data. 1. Electrical contractor's name and telephone number. 2. Street and legal address, ES, for the job site. 3. Electrical permit number if applicable. 4. Class of service such as residential or commercial. 5. Type of job such as new construction, remodeling or adding load, with amount of added load given. 6. Single phase or three phase. 7. Service voltage. 8. Switch or circuit breaker ampere rating for each meter. 9. Wire size and type in meter socket or CT enclosure. 10. Service type, e.g. overhead service drop, underground from overhead system, pad mount transformer, etc. 1802 3 Work request number assigned. Customer will receive a work request number that shall be used when requesting the status of the meter cabinet order. For CPS Energy issued metering equipment, CPS Energy will release the work request for all residential or commercial metering equipment only after the CPS Energy customer service representative has received an approved meter loop drawing and verified that an electrical permit has been issued by the AHJ, where applicable. 1802 4 Equipment pickup. Customer must pick up CPS Energy issued metering equipment at the CPS Energy facility located at 511 S. Salado St. Between the hours of 8:00 a.m. to 11:00 a.m. and 12:00 p.m. to 2:00 p.m. Monday through Friday. Customer must, before CPS Energy issues material, be prepared to furnish the necessary work request number and present personal identification. Note: Where metering equipment is issued by CPS Energy, the meter sockets and enclosures for 1 meter installations will be issued on the same job. 1803 CPS Energy furnished metering equipment and general installation requirements. On all commercial installations, CPS Energy will furnish necessary metering equipment to include self-contained and transformer-rated equipment. On residential installations, CPS Energy will furnish instrument transformer-rated metering equipment as required. CPS Energy will furnish the standard metering equipment outlined in Table 1801 and Figure 1801 for commercial applications. This article covers typical applications of this metering equipment along with their general installation requirements. Note: customer shall be responsible for furnishing and installing residential single-phase, self-contained meter sockets. CPS Energy does not furnish this metering equipment. The general installation requirements outlined herein for self-contained meter sockets shall be applicable. 1803 1 single position, self-contained, meter sockets. Single position, self-contained, meter sockets furnished by CPS Energy can be used for overhead and/or underground service installations. Where customer calculated loads exceed the load limitations outlined in Table 1802, or when customer service entrance conductor size exceeds the meter socket specifications, customer will be required to design their service to use transformer-rated metering equipment as outlined in this section. A. Overhead and underground service installations. Single position, self-contained, meter sockets furnished by CPS Energy are designed to be used with either overhead or underground services. These type sockets may also be used in multiple, grouped, metering schemes where sockets are installed below auxiliary, meter, gutters. Sockets shall not be installed both above and below the same auxiliary, meter, gutter, refer to figures 1805 and 1809. Note: the meter socket issued by CPS Energy will be based on the load to be metered and the service entrance conductor size, refer to Table 1802 for calculated load limitations. B. Conductor size limitations. Conductor sizes permitted in self-contained meter sockets shall be as outlined in Figures 1801 and 1802 where customer is responsible for furnishing and installing both line and load conductors within a meter socket. Conductors shall be sized the same and must be of the same material and ampacity rating. C. Wiring of single position, self-contained meter sockets. Customer shall furnish and terminate all conductors within single position, self-contained meter sockets. Exception number 1. Where CPS Energy service lateral conductors enter a meter socket, CPS Energy will make the terminations of these conductors. Exception number 2. Where fifth terminals are required on 3-wire 120/208 volt meters, CPS Energy will make the necessary terminations on the fifth terminal, refer to Figure 1805. Note: in no case will customer be authorized to bypass a meter socket or other metering equipment to provide unmetered service. 1. Conductor identification. Customer line and load conductors must be identified at their terminations in accordance with Section 400 of these standards. Terminals so identified will be evidence of customer's intended phase sequence, high leg position, plus position of other phase conductors and the neutral conductor. Meter loops lacking proper conductor identification will not receive a CPS Energy meter. Customer assumes all responsibility for conductors that are improperly identified or terminated. A. Particular attention must be paid to identification and placement of the high leg conductor in sockets being wired for 240 delta/120 volt, 4-wire services, refer to Figure 1808. The high leg conductor has 208 volts to neutral and shall, for proper metering equipment operation, be in the farthest right-hand position, C phase position, facing the meter socket. However, NEC rules require that the high leg conductor occupy a center position in customer's service equipment and be identified as B phase. B. the high leg conductor must be identified orange in color. CPS Energy may, for its operations, identify the high leg at its transformer, service, or other location as a phase other than B. 2. Line and load conductors and connections. All meter sockets must have the line side, source, conductors connected to their top terminals. Load side conductors must connect to the bottom terminals of the meter socket. Refer to figures 1803 through 1809 for proper conductor terminations in standard, single position, self-contained meter sockets. Exception. Photovoltaic, PV, meter sockets shall have conductors from the solar installation side connected to the top terminals as the solar production becomes the source. The PV meter is a non-billing relevant meter. A. Meter socket terminals are designed to accept either copper or aluminum conductors, but where aluminum conductors are installed, wire ends must be wire brush cleaned and have grit fill joint compound applied to them and the terminals before terminal screws are made tight. B. Customer must observe the terminal screw torque requirements that are labeled in each socket. Poor connections may be the result if the recommended torque is either reduced or exceeded. C. No more than one conductor per phase or neutral shall be terminated within a meter socket with the exception of the Code 31 and Code 32 meter sockets. D. Conductors formed within the socket's enclosure must not be allowed to rest on or press against other terminals. E. Where metering equipment is connected using paralleled conductors, such conductors shall be installed in individual raceways and in the same manner on both line and load of equipment.